What's going on, moviegoers, movie lovers? I'm Mr. Filmstock, and welcome to the Mr. Filmstock podcast. This is episode 2, and the amazing episode 1 had rave reviews. Thank you all so much for listening. I had listeners from literally all over the world. The big listening country was Brussels, Belgium. Could you believe that? Can you believe that? I mean, wow. So the podcast is hitting marks all over the world, and I want to thank you for tuning in, and it's been a great experience, great feedback, a lot of comments on it, and it's absolutely amazing. The podcast now is on Spotify. Today's episode is going to be about streaming services or streaming. It's just interesting how far we've come and how streaming has started. I'm going to talk about the history of streaming services, the transition, the pricing. Is it good or bad for theatrical movie releases? The gate from being released in theaters to streaming, video on demand, whatever it is, you name it, that's what I'm going to talk about. So streaming services, I mean, there are a lot of them right now on so many platforms. The biggest one being Netflix, followed by Disney Plus. You have Paramount Plus. You have Hulu, Peacock, Max, HBO Max, whatever you want to call it. There are so many streaming services that it's absolutely insane and ridiculous. Now, streaming services have been around in a way for a while. You had the mid-90s, the height of the internet, when you had Napster. You could say that's a streaming service in a way, where you got your music, you downloaded music, and you did it illegally, but it was digital media. And after Metallica sued Napster, things changed drastically. Then you had LimeWire. I mean, come on, all you listeners, you've downloaded something off of LimeWire, whether it be music or other means of entertainment and satisfaction. So with that, it progressed into Netflix, which started as a DVD rental service by mailing DVDs directly to customers in 1997. Now, I watch a show on the History Channel called That Built America, and it's an amazing show, and one of the episodes was, I believe, the mega brands that built America, or versus that built America, where they talk about Netflix and how Netflix started out, and it was Netflix and Blockbuster, and how Blockbuster had a chance to buy Netflix for only $50 million. Blockbuster balked at the idea. Netflix now is a billion or more dollar industry. Not only that, the company then saw the potential for streaming back in 2007. It was still fairly fresh, fairly new. You could see that the algorithm wasn't really doing what it was supposed to do, and it allowed subscribers to watch TV shows and movies online instantly. Like, it changed the game dramatically. But then you had different aspects of how you got your media, your news, your music, your movies, and even video clips. I mean, becoming an internet phenomenon didn't start until 2005 with YouTube, which was a major breakthrough through the means of allowing users to upload and share videos easily. Now we know a lot of people use YouTube today. It became a platform for user-generated content and later professional content for Let's Play gaming, movie reviews, and everything for the matter of everyday life, which people have close to 1 million to 10, 50, even 200 million subscribers, which is insane to think. But the focus here is on film, the industry, streaming. Now, Netflix's streaming service kind of initially offered a limited selection of that content, of streaming content, gradually by expanding its library later on. not really much was done. I mean, you had the release gate or theatrical gate where, as I stated in the very first episode, you had to wait 6 to 9 months for something to be released after it was out theatrically. Well, within that time, still, it was still fresh in 2007, you had to wait 6 to 9 months. But gradually, the service grew to popularity because it was convenient, it was quick access to a TV show that you loved, and you could do something new called binge watch and even Netflix and chill, which you know what that is, and I won't go into it. Everyone's done it. Now, not only did Netflix come on the market in a big, big way, the introduction of Hulu and Amazon Prime Video. Yes, that Amazon where you buy books, whatever you want to buy, which was a book service, and now you can buy anything you want. Hulu was launched in 2008 as a joint venture between major media studio companies like NBC, Universal, Fox, and later Disney. Now, it offered a mix of current season TV episodes. So if you missed something live when it premiered on TV, you could watch it the next night. And if you had a subscription, you could watch it without commercials, which was amazing. It even had classic series and movies. And Amazon Prime was introduced 3 years later in 2011 as a benefit to Amazon Prime members, which grew its library mostly very quickly through the means and started producing more original content. So you could say that Amazon was the first original content matter of streaming services. Well, in 2013, Netflix took that and the rise of original content started. Netflix began producing new, original, fresh, scripted content with the release of House of Cards, which starred Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright Penn. And it made a significant, interesting segue and shift in the industry, and it was a big, substantial thing that happened. And the success of these Netflix originals were more so where Netflix saw it and they were like, okay, we have to do more of this. And they did. It paved the way for other streaming services to look at Netflix and say, this is what's going on. We can do original content. Let's get original scripted series and put it out there. But we have to invest heavily on the aspect for exclusive content. Now, before streaming services happened, from the late or early 80s to the 90s, cable TV subscriptions were a big, big thing. The biggest one was Comcast, but also with cable Comcast, you had satellite, you had DirecTV, Dish Network. And as streaming services kind of grew, cable TV subscriptions began to decline. And the reason they began to decline is because you were locked into a 2-year contract and you can't get rid of it at all. When you had HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, Stars, you had all these movie channels. You're like, okay, what's on it? When the prices of cable TV subscriptions went up, the decline of original movies and content on those movie channels started to, go away. When you wanted to watch something, you had to wait for that time to come on. You couldn't just go to a streaming service and say, hey, I want to watch this movie, or I want to watch North by Northwest starring Cary Grant. You couldn't do that. But with streaming services, you could do that. It was called cord cutting, and it became a trend astronomically as consumers kind of preferred the flexibility of lower cost of streaming. Think about that and remember what I just said, lower cost of streaming. It's gone up substantially in a few years, even since 2019. Subscription prices for streaming has gone up insanely. But traditional media companies started to adapt by launching their own streaming services or partnering with existing ones. Now, there was some skepticism into all this. Will streaming services stay? Are they here for the long run? Or are they just a fad that will go away? No, it's about the sustainability of how it can adapt in the world, in the culture, in the pop culture aspects of movies, music, and even television series. Critics doubted that whether they could actually compete with traditional TV and movie production costs. And let me tell you, over time, the quality of what you saw was improved in a way where the model improved to a highly successful aspect where the algorithm, when you're watching something, it's like, for example, for myself, I love Korean drama, Japanese drama. I love Korean movies, Japanese movies. If I watch and binge a full season of a Korean show, I'm going to get more of that in my Netflix queue, which is very different now. But you have that, and with high profile stars going now to streaming, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. We're getting more than what we bargained for, but at a low cost. Well, that shifted and that changed for streaming original content, which boosted the credibility of these streaming services. Now, when it was done, the original content category was okay, like, all right, can they be up for awards? Well, it's House of Cards was the first original series ever for a streaming service, which set a standard for new great quality. Now, Netflix has then since invested billions upon billions of dollars for hit series like Stranger Things, Bridgerton, and The Crown, which have gotten rave reviews and have won amazing and substantial awards during awards season for the television awards. Now, the strategy of releasing entire seasons at once also started the trend of binge watching. But now they go for the aspect of, okay, we're going to put all 8 episodes on, you can binge watch it. But then people started complaining about binge watching. They were like, all right, 8 episodes done. Now what? Now I have to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years for the next season? Now streaming services are slowly releasing these episodes weekly, episodic, like they did back in the day with TV shows where you had to wait for Seinfeld, you had to wait for ER. You're like, wow, that was a great cliffhanger. Now I have to wait the next episode, the next week. But if Seinfeld and ER were on streaming services, and streaming services existed back in the 90s, you could just binge watch and be like, all right, I'm done. That was great. And then talk about it with your friends or family about what it is and what you wanted. Also, Netflix kind of expanded internationally in 2010, which was now available in over 190 countries. That's insane to believe. But think about that. And then the company produces content in different various languages where they give billions of dollars, and you're seeing shows now where you thought you could never see and you would never think of seeing because it's fresh, it's original. The regional favorites appeal to that global audience. If you want to watch something in Korea, India, Japan, you can do that on Netflix or any streaming services. That's possible. Not only did Netflix start this, but the integration with Amazon Prime in 2011 is bundled with the Amazon Prime membership. If you know what Amazon Prime membership is, it's providing additional value through combined services, free shipping, music streaming, etc., etc. This integration has been a key driver in that aspect of what consumers want and what consumers can get and have. And it's the growth and the subscriber base that really pushes Amazon Prime forward. Now, Amazon Prime focuses on more so diverse aspects of streaming and content, where it includes original series, movies, and exclusive rights to shows like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and The Boys. It also offers rentals and release dates for movies where it's now video on demand, where providing the flexibility for users to watch a movie that was just released a few weeks ago. For example, this is current. A Quiet Place Day 1 was released June 28th in theaters. That's June 28th, 2024, in theaters. It grossed close to $100 million worldwide, had a $53 million opening domestic weekend, and evidently it's coming out on streaming or video on demand on July 30th, 2024. That's one thing I'm not for and very, very much against. If a film is doing great at the box office, don't just put it out close to 32 to 35 days later on streaming. Let it make its money and then put it on streaming or video on demand. Now, the technological innovation and advances that these streaming services has invested in kind of high quality 4K HDR streaming options. Now, not only that, the aspect of 8K, the ratio, the bit rates are also some of the things that people like. Sometimes one streaming service doesn't have 8K, you have to watch it differently. Now you have smart TVs, but not only that, the content library strength through different streaming services matter. Disney Plus launched in November of 2019, leaving its vast variety of contrast with different aspects of what they could have. You know Disney. They own Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic. Disney also owns Hulu, which Hulu now is a part of Disney Plus. There are so many tiers and different factors of how to buy and subscribe to certain aspects and content. When you subscribe to Disney Plus, you're automatically subscribing to Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic. But there's also another tier where you can get Disney Plus. You can add Hulu for $19.99 with no ads. Also, Disney also owns ESPN. So the aspect of how everything works is really, really hard. There are some successes and challenges to what streaming services can provide and what they can offer. Case in point, original series like The Mandalorians and WandaVision have been huge hits for Disney and Disney Plus. The streaming numbers, which I feel like they should release to the public, they don't though. It's like, I would love to see how many people watch it in a day, a week, a month, or how many people watching it 6 months in. And then they have, though, faced challenges where they're kind of balancing their content for children and adults, and then dealing with certain production delays when TV shows or films go over budget. The expansion of how you work is really, really interesting. But now with the aggressive expansion of Disney and Hulu giving more to it, it's very difficult because if not done right, it can have a big backlash. For example, if you have Disney Plus with a Hulu subscription, you can watch the Saw franchise movies. The entire franchise is on Hulu with a Disney Plus, which is crazy. So if you have a child who watches, kids content, and if you have a Hulu subscription for yourself, they could accidentally go to Hulu and just start watching Saw. So it's like you really have to balance out what can happen and what is good or bad. That's why Disney Plus has a $7.99 subscription with the aspect of just watching Disney Plus. And then you add Hulu, $19.99, but then you add ESPN Plus, that's even more. So with the aspect of Disney Plus, it does kind of get confusing, especially with them raising the prices slowly. Now, one of my least favorite streaming services is Max, or HBO Max, which was launched in May of 2020. It combines premium content where it has more so of a broader library, which deals with Warner Brothers films and television series, the DC Universe, and original series. Now, their strategy kind of includes releasing Warner Brothers movies simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max, appealing to both movie theater going audiences and home viewers who like the home theater experience as well. Godzilla vs. Kong was a same-day release in theaters and on HBO Max. If it's a same-day release, I'm not going to go to the theaters and watch it. I'm going to watch it in the comfort of my own home. Now, with Max, they have now Discovery. Warner Brothers then bought out Discovery, or the Discovery Channel, which now Max has the Food Network, the Cooking Channel, Magnolia Network, TCM. They have a slew of things where it's absolutely crazy and so much content on it where it's just, what do you do? What do you watch? Like if you want to watch Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, you have a Max subscription. You can do that. You can enjoy those films. But if you don't have a Max subscription, you can't watch those films anywhere else. For example, if you want to watch a film, you want to know where it's streaming or where it's playing, you can just Google it. So, for example, Batman 1989. Type that into Google and it will show you how to watch, where to watch, like Max, Sling, Hulu, Amazon Prime. It will show you that. But not only that, it's like, what is the contrast and aspect to it? Even the forefront of physical media is going away. It's crazy to think. Now, Apple TV Plus is a streaming service also which launched in November of 2019, which focuses on original content with high production value. We know the whole thing with Apple. Yeah, everyone is trying to get their hand in the cookie jar of streaming services. Apple, a high-tech iPhone, iMac industry for tech, getting their hands in the entertainment business. Amazon doing the same thing with entertainment. It's insane. They just want to do things and win awards. But Apple is kind of still learning, I want to say, of how they want to do things. And it just goes to show where the morning show, Ted Lasso, and For All Mankind are big hits, but people are watching it where they're not going to go to big audiences. If Ted Lasso was on Netflix, it would be a huge, huge hit. Yes, I know it's already a huge hit now on Apple TV Plus, but it'll be a bigger hit if it was on Netflix. Same thing with the morning show. I mean, they're getting big name actors in these roles for drama, comedy, romance, action. But they're dishing out so much money that, Apple TV Plus is still the lowest subscription-based streaming service out there. And that's saying a lot. Now you have more streaming services. You have Peacock, which is for NBC or NBC Universal, or NBC Universal, a Comcast company, or Comcast NBC Universal. It's just really, really crazy how many names they've gone through since 2015. It was launched in July of 2020 and has a mix of current season shows, classic TV series, movies, and also original content. Its tiered price modeling includes free ad-supported options, which has attracted a wide range of users. Now, I have family members who watch things on Peacock, and it's the Chicago PD shows, it's Law and Order, it's Days of Our Lives, and it's just Peacock knows what they're doing and how it works, and they're going to progress in a way where if they don't combine with another streaming services, it can be an absolutely great thing. Now, the thing that I noticed is Peacock really is, pushing the boundaries on same day release as well. So if a show comes out at 9 o'clock at night on a Thursday, by 3 a.m. or 6 a.m. the next day, it's on there for you to watch, which is great and which is really, really smart. Days of Our Lives, a soap opera that's been around for close to 60 years. It was on NBC at 12 noon. But that kind of demographic slowly died down a little bit, and Peacock decided, let's just put it on Peacock. Then that's what they do. Their model is now releasing it on Peacock and not on NBC, the TV network. They've seen a drastic uptick in viewership where people miss out on a month watching it. They can sit there and watch 30 episodes in one sitting for 45 minutes straight. You don't miss anything. You don't have to go through commercials, and you don't have to sit through things where it's like, oh, all right, here we go. What can we do? You can just enjoy it. Keep watching it and watching it and watching it. And then wait. Let 30 more episodes play off for the following month. And then after that, watch it again. That kind of subscription, streaming service based, is really, really good. And it really, really works, which is very, very interesting to see. Now, streaming services like Hulu kind of offer a combined aspect to the streaming service impact with subscription based TV shows, movies, and kind of services like Crunchyroll for anime, which works really, really well. And it also plays a significant role in the genre of bringing in that fandom, that demographic, because, you can have a genre for one thing and have another for another. It's just so interesting and just so different and really well done that it's going to change the landscape of how we watch streaming services. Now, it has had impact on traditional media. So for cable and broadcast television, which was very, very big from the first time television became a big thing in the 50s and 60s up until, I want to say, 2007, because that's when Netflix started their streaming subscription. Now, as streaming services gained popularity, traditional cable and TV saw a significant big decline in viewership. Cord cutting became a major trend within 5 to 10 years, with millions of households canceling their cable subscriptions in favor of more affordable streaming options. Advertisers then began shifting their budgets to digital platforms. Streaming services were done so you don't have to sit through commercials. But now, it is insane. If you want to pay for a low subscription streaming service, say for example Disney Plus for $5.99, I'm just hypothetically speaking here, you get that, you would have to sit through a commercial. Okay, why do I want to do that? I'm just going to pay an extra $2, $5 and do Disney Plus with no ads. You can do that. That's the fun of streaming services. But it's also a downfall, because to me, and in my opinion, cable and broadcast television for advertisers is a big thing. You're seeing more advertising on TV than anything. Even at the movie theaters, before a movie begins, they play movie or whatever the hell you want to call it before the movie starts. Then you have 5 movie trailers, which is close to 25 to 30 minutes. Stop that. I don't want that anymore. Just start the movie when it's supposed to start. If it says a movie starts at 7 p.m., start the movie at 7 p.m. I'm not going to sit there and wait until 7:30 for the movie to start. Okay? That's what needs to change. A lot of things need to change. But changes in content creation and distribution have also had a big, big impact on streaming subscriptions and services. Now, TV networks kind of adapted by creating their own advertising in a way, and they began offering next day current episodes and exclusive content to retain viewers, gain more viewers. For example, if I'm watching a show and I like it, I'm going to tell my best friend about it, and they're going to start watching it. They're going to tell more people and more people and more people. That's how streaming services work. There has been a shift toward shorter seasons and certain storytelling aspects of how serialized storytelling is done in the industry, but it's influenced by the success of binge watching on these streaming platforms. You binge watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Great. Season 1, fantastic. Then you find out Season 2 is episodic. Some might not like that. Some might like that. So it's a positive and negative on how things are done. Not only that, the shift and the impact on box office numbers is a big, big thing as well. Streaming services kind of have changed the way the dynamic of movie releases are done, with more films being released directly to streaming platforms or having simultaneous theater and streaming release dates. There are movies that should have gotten theatrical releases but don't, because they go straight to streaming, which is a slap in the face if I'm saying so. The interesting thing about it is the pandemic kind of accelerated the means of the same-day release on streaming, because theaters were closed, studios turned to streaming to release their films, and it worked. and it worked on some occasion with some streaming platforms. While some blockbuster movies were still a draw to larger theater audiences like Top Gun Maverick, many low budget films that studios were making kind of found their primary audience through streaming. Because if it's a horror movie, it's going to go straight to streaming because they don't really make that much money at the box office. But if you attach a big name star to something like Tom Cruise for Top Gun Maverick, you're going to go see it. Top Gun Maverick, in a way, when it was released, did save the box office. I will be the first to say that. I'm pretty sure others have said that as well. It changed the dynamic of what it is and how to bring someone back to the movie theaters. But with movie theater ticket prices now being $15, $20, $25, nobody wants to go to the movies. Because if a movie comes out in March, by July or August, it's out on streaming. Not only that, the shift toward direct-to-streaming releases kind of worked with certain platforms. The shift allows kind of these studios to retain more control. Yes, and I mean more control of the profits at the end of it and how to generate subscription revenue. You raise the prices, they can make more films. If you release it at the box office or in theaters, the theater gets a cut, the studio gets a cut, then you have to give the actors, the crew a cut. But then the whole aspect of streaming, it's like, wait a minute. The big thing was Black Widow. It was released on Disney Plus and in theaters simultaneously. And Scarlett Johansson kind of, in a way, sued Disney, saying that this was not in my contract, that it was just going to go to streaming also. It was just going to be in theaters. She won the case behind closed doors. No amount of money. Don't know how much she got out of it. But it shows that, okay, studios need to change things in their contracts for actors and actresses. The theatrical release window has shortened astronomically and drastically, which movies appearing on streaming platforms much sooner than what they're supposed to be when they're physical media release dates. Some studios are experimenting with hybrid release models, which offers films both in theaters and streaming services in a way that after their release date, like I said, with A Quiet Place Day One, out in one weekend and a month later out on streaming. This model, I understand, kind of aims to maximize the revenue, which now everything is a cha-ching dollar sign. But is it good or bad for both theater-going audiences and the home viewer? It's really, really interesting. You have the aspect of the consumer behavior at home. The binge watcher is what we like to call them. And it has popularized this binge watching trend where viewers consume multiple episodes of an entire series in one sitting. You start an episode at 9 o'clock at night. You can get it done by 5 a.m. That's a whole complete day's worth of work, just binge watching one television series. It has influenced how streaming services and these studios have created and focalized kind of their aspect of how we work with serialized television series and cliffhanger-driven storytelling that keeps viewers engaged. Japan and Korea know how to keep viewers engaged with serialized and cliffhanger stories. For example, Squid Game. They have each episode end with a cliffhanger, but you have to binge watch it to know what's happening. Squid Game became Netflix's biggest original content streaming services in the history of that studio, platform, you name it. I mean, what else can you say? An American studio company making money off the backs of another popular, idea from another country. Oh my God, I'm shocked, right? Sarcasm. So, they also offer the convenience of on-demand viewing as well, allowing users to watch what they want, when they want, how they want, where they want. With traditional TV networks, you can't do that at all. It has adapted an offering with these on-demand options, which through their own streaming apps and services can work to an extent. Now, the impact that it has on viewing habits is also a big, big thing. They now expect and viewers want more high quality content, which I don't blame them at all. It's the minimal interruptions that we have. We're watching something, there's no commercials. Great. You're enjoying your dinner, your popcorn, your snack, your beverage. You're enjoying that time at home. The binge watching culture has become so introverted in a way where we it leads to the rise of the aspect of doing ad-free subscriptions. We don't want to sit through things, but sometimes you need a bathroom break. Go to the bathroom, boom, put on the next episode. There has been a decline in viewing with where viewers would tune into a specific time for a show and they could watch it at their own pace. But now if something doesn't work, you can just fast forward, skip through it, and then move on. But now there is what I called a pause lock. And I'm calling it a pause lock, and I'm pretty sure if this gets out, people are going to start using that as well. Where if you're watching something, say for example on YouTube, and an ad comes up, you can't fast forward it because you have to sit through that ad. You can't do that with certain things like Paramount Network or Hulu. You want to watch something, it's going through that, and it's like, wait a minute, hold on, I can't fast forward. It just stops it. It doesn't give me that option to fast forward because it has to go through this commercial because the advertisers need to make their money. Oh, God forbid they lose out on money. How scary is that for them? But the impact on streaming services and traditional media has been profound in leading to significant changes in the industry and how content is distributed and consumed all in one go. Now we know TV subscriptions has been changed a lot, even for the aspect of your viewing pleasure and even in the industry of how movies are released, the release window, the release gate, and how advertisers really put out money to put advertising on streaming. But what does the future hold? What is the trend and the predictions of what we can see? Technological advancements are happening at a faster pace than we realize it to be. Not only that, AI and machine learning and content recommendations has blown up over the past few years, and it absolutely shows. Streaming services, in a way, are going to lean toward that, where streaming services will continue to refine their recommendations through the algorithm, and where they use AI machine learning to see what people want, what they want now, later on, and how if something comes out, they can put that in their queue. These technologies and these technological factors analyze viewing habits, preferences, and even, yes, even emotional responses to tailor to us, the way we want to watch content, how our choices are unique to each and every one of us, each and every user. The virtual reality, the VR, the augmented reality, the AR, the AI, the artificial intelligence, have the potential to transform streaming services by offering immersive viewing experiences to the point where it can be good or it can be bad, or we don't know how it will be until it actually happens. Companies are exploring virtual reality cinemas. Yes, you heard that correctly. And AR enhanced content for streaming. It's allowing viewers to interact with what you're watching, with their favorite shows and movies in new ways. Now, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that this is happening. Now, the enhanced streaming quality. The internet speeds and how things of fiber optic and how things are done is offering a higher quality of content, including, as I stated before, 8K high resolution bit rates and sound formats like Dolby Atmos. Remember Dolby? Yeah, remember when they came out? Now they have Dolby Atmos, which is really, really crazy. But with the improved compression of how this tech, moves on over the future, the technological and technology advances will also enable better quality for viewing, listening, and experiences without requiring an excessive bandwidth where we don't use much internet. I mean, could you imagine streaming services back when AOL was around? insane, absolutely crazy. Not only that, the streaming landscape may see more consolidations and mergers as companies seek to expand their libraries and subscription bases or subscriber base. And with the marketing dynamics of how things are working, you're seeing that slowly happen. Smaller niche streaming services, that ones that aren't really doing too well but you think are doing too good, are combining with other services for large quantities, looking to diversify their offerings. Like I said before, everyone, it's about the money. It's always about the money with everything you look at in the entertainment industry. It's not about the art. The art of entertainment, the art of TV, movie making is null and void. It doesn't exist anymore. It's about the money making. Yeah, okay, you make good money if you hit it big. Fantastic. But if you do it right, you can appreciate the art. You have Paramount Plus, who evidently is going to be bought out by another big media conglomerate entertainment studio. There are so many bids for that. Max could be buying something else out. You could see mergers real soon. Disney bought out the full Hulu aspect because Comcast owned Hulu. I believe it was like Comcast owned 51% while Disney owned 49%. But then Disney said, I want to buy it out. They did. They took it off of Comcast. And now that's why you see Hulu on Disney Plus, which is a smart thing because I don't want two different subscription services. One for Hulu, which was $14.99, and me doing Disney Plus for $7.99, where now I can just have both for $19.99 with no ads. It's much cheaper. That's a smart thing to do. If they follow the model of what Disney Plus and Hulu have done, then it can work. But put good things on there. Also, in a way, ad-supported models like those used by Peacock and the so-called free tier Hulu will become more prevalent as these services are being bought out by more bigger studios and conglomerates. Expect crazy innovations in advertising as well because you're going to have more advertisers on these streaming platforms when two big platforms combine. The interactive aspect, the personalized ads for you. I mean, you're searching Google, you're on Google Chrome, you watch something and all of a sudden you see an ad on a YouTube video. It's like, wait a minute, why am I seeing ads for something that I just looked up? Oh, because, that's how it is now. It's a personalized ad for you, for the consumer. But it's used to improve, quote unquote, air quotes right now, to improve the viewer experience and increase engagement. But does it though? Does that really, really work? We have to wait and see to find out. Not only that, you have the global expansion of streaming services, which will kind of continue to focus on the markets, like how big it can be. Like, are you kind of using it to work with certain things of producing more content to tailored regional tastes in that country, that city, state, that, race, demographic? I mean, the preferences can be insane. It's also localization of the strategies of including dubbed and subtitled content that we watch. It will become more interesting and catered to diverse audiences. You'll get more audiences watching Korean, Japanese, Indian, UK shows. So it's like the basis of what can happen. Now, the content trends and the continued rise of original content is also a big thing. It will remain a key difference in certain ways of how things are done in the streaming service and streaming platforms. But it's investing in exclusive movies, series, and documentaries, which will be really, really crucial to push the boundary and push forward how we watch streaming services. We'll see more collaborations. We'll see more top-tier creators on these platforms and investments in diverse areas where it's inclusive storytelling, but also it appeals to an audience where that never appealed to them before. There will also be an increase in focus on producing content that represents different cultures, languages, perspectives, what we see, what we don't see, what we want to see, what we think we want to see, but then we see anyway because it's given to us through storytelling means. And also global hits like Money Heist, Squid Game, as I stated, have shown that potential for non-English language content has been a big, big thing to achieve worldwide global success. Money-making success, for that matter. Not only that, you have what is called interactive content, where you have viewers who can influence the storytelling, which was done with Black Mirror Bandersnatch, which gained popularity. You're watching something, you can watch it and how you want to watch it and how to progress it. But then you can also go back and see how things progress when you didn't pick that one thing. So it's done really well, but streaming services still have a long way to go to explore the elements of interactive storytelling. It's still very fresh and very new, but it's experiencing that thing of blending traditional viewing with interactive features. Now, technology advancements, they're evolving. Marketing dynamics are evolving, but it's the innovative content strategy that we know and love as we binge watch our favorite shows, we watch our same-day release movies. These trends will offer more personalized experiences and diverse viewing experiences where we say to ourselves, is this a good thing or a bad thing? We have to wait and see to find out if that's the truth, because streaming services are the future. But, this is a big but, cable subscriptions and cord cutting were a big trend. Nobody wanted to pay $250 to $300 for monthly for streaming. For cable. Nobody wanted to do that at all. Then you went to streaming. Low prices. But then, when streaming prices got crazy, people started cutting out streaming. It's like, okay, do I need all these things? Well, I'm just going to, pay this 1 month, binge watch the show I want to watch, and then take it out. You can do that too. That's what I personally do. If there's a show on Max I want to watch, I will get it, binge it, and then cancel the subscription. But you still have that subscription up until a certain date and certain point. The aspect of what Netflix is doing. Now people are very upset. They're pissed off. They're pissed off in a way where Netflix is canceling shows that only had 1 season, 2 seasons, maybe even 3 seasons. And people are like, what's going on? There's no actual ending. Why would I watch it? Cowboy Bebop, which was a great show that starred John Cho. Really, really well done. A live action version of the Cowboy Bebop series was done so well, but it got canceled after season 1. Why? Don't do that. Give us a second season. Show us an aspect of what can happen. If you cancel a season, it is the right thing to do to give viewers, fans of things, the niches, the pop culture that we like, to give us an ending, to finish the story. We want to finish that story. Netflix is canceling shows to where they're making $300 million epic masterpieces. Okay? Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon was for Netflix. If it was released in theaters, it would have absolutely bombed to the point where Netflix would have had to write it off as a tax credit just to regain their money that they lost. David Zaslav of WB, Warner Brothers Discovery, the CEO, air quotes, whatever it is, I will say he is destroying that company to a point where Coyote versus Acme evidently had good test screeners, but they're not releasing it. Batgirl, they're not releasing it, or Batwoman, or whatever it was. They're not releasing it. Why? Release it. Are you afraid you're going to lose money? Just write it off as a tax. That's the thing. Or, if you're not releasing it in theaters, release it on streaming. And then it'll get a good amount of views, and you'll see that the streaming numbers were right. Streaming services can be a hit or a miss, but for right now, it's a big, big miss with collaborations happening. other streaming services buying other streaming services. Could you imagine Netflix buying out another big streaming competition? Like, that'll change the game. Absolutely. Just remember, Blockbuster. Yes, Blockbuster Video, back when Netflix was a still young company, had a chance to buy it for $50 million. Adjusted for inflation, I have no idea what that number is. But can you imagine, instead of watching Netflix, we could have been watching Blockbuster. And Blockbuster could have been the number one biggest streaming platform and company in the world. It's like, yeah, I used to go to Blockbuster every Friday night, Saturday night, spend 2, 3, 4 hours there, and just going in and, if your movie wasn't there, you pick something else. But then you go and see, oh, I used to go there to a physical location, physical media in your hand. You held it. You wanted that feeling. That's what your childhood was like. But then if Blockbuster bought Netflix, it's like, oh, I went from a physical location to a physical media to now streaming. Wow, Blockbuster did good things. But, boop, let's hold the brakes there. No, it didn't. Blockbuster didn't, because they didn't buy Netflix for only $50 million, because the CEO at the time of Blockbuster was like, nah, we don't see potential in this. I'm pretty sure that's a slap in the face right now. So it's like the aspect of, is it good, is it bad, what can happen? The streaming industry is changing every single day, every single hour, minute, and second. We don't know what the next day is going to bring. We don't know what the prices are going to be. But the media is telling us that it's going to go up. Why is it going to go up? Because they have to fund their shows, their movies, their original content. Soon enough, and it's happened, where these streaming platforms will win big at award shows. Certain platforms have done that with television shows, and certain films have done that with movies at the Academy Awards. So it's all a thing that's going to happen where, as we move forward, what will streaming services be like in the next 25 to 50 years? I mean, could you imagine virtual reality streaming? Like you're in your favorite show. That is something to think about. But streaming services are here to stay. They're not going to change at all. And hopefully, where we see that movies that should be released in theaters do get that theatrical release, but don't just put it out on streaming so quickly. Let it make its money at the box office. Let people experience that movie theater going experience, which we still love. I love the movie theater going experience. But when I find out that a movie is being released 1 week and I can see it 2 months later, I'm going to wait 60 days, because in the blink of an eye and the snap of a finger, it's going to come out. So that's the thing with streaming, the box office, movies. It's what you want. It's how you enjoy it. It's how you want to enjoy it. You can binge watch a show. Do that. You don't want to? Don't do that. I like to save shows in a way where if I'm binge watching something, I want to know what's going to happen. Yes, of course, I'm going to binge watch it. Then you tell other people. That's the whole aspect of how things work and what can happen with streaming services. So there you have it, moviegoers, movie lovers, episode 2 of the Mr. Film Stock podcast about streaming. If you're viewing this as a video, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're listening to this as an audio podcast, thank you for listening in on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Mr. Film Stock, and you've been listening to the Mr. Film Stock podcast.